Hello, everyone. We
Hello.
ha hello. We have decided to start having magical side quests, conversations with our friends and family. We do it regularly anyway, so we thought, why not just record it and share it? Because if we're enjoying these conversations, we think you will too. So I'm Kimberly. I use Queen of Swords for Hire on Instagram, and I offer light language and activation sessions, things like that. You can check me out on my profile. I don't need to go into it here. We have our lovely goddess from Maui, Amber.
Hello,
Amber,
hi everybody.
you want to share a brief introduction about yourself?
Sure, I'm Amber and I'm from at Star Council Magic on Instagram and I help people integrate with plant medicine. So,
Yes, she does.
yes.
Some of these people on the podcast.
Me yesterday. Okay.
I mean, if we're being honest,
Yeah.
can I be honest?
Yeah.
Um, all right, Sage in Georgia, take it away.
Yes. My name is Sage. And I was thinking yesterday on my drive back home, what is it that I do? Because for a long time I have been quantifying myself as a Akashic record reader, spiritual mentor, helping people with their businesses. And I was like, you know what? Overall, I'm really a creative. Like I just like creating things and bringing them to the collective. But in the spiritual realms, I am an Akashic record reader, spiritual mentor, and you can find me on Soul Harmony Magic at or on all socials, Soul Harmony Magic.
Definitely look Sage up.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, she
Like, you're
kicked off
in.
she kicked off all this crazy journey for me. And
Okay.
okay, and most important and last but not least, Adela Cruz up in Colorado. Would you like to share the magic and uh beautiful magic that you share with the world?
Why, yes. Um, I'm Adela, and I like Sage. I was like, what is it exactly that I do? We all have titles, right? Just so that people kind of get an idea of what is it that we do. And I guess hypnotist, hypnotherapist, counselor, soul mentor. It's kind of a
Bundle.
mix, I
You
guess.
you offer a package. You offer a package is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you now know, Adela has one of the most soothing voices in existence. So if you if you've been contemplating getting hypnotherapy for anything, I highly recommend Adela. And you've also done some meditations that I've bared witness to, but I don't know if you're actively pursuing that, but you do incredible meditation sessions.
Yeah, I decided to do kind of a group uh, hypnosis meditation, because I was like, how do I reach more people? And it
Hmm.
was during the holidays. The holidays can bring on all kinds of, highs and lows. And so I go, let me put this out there and see if anybody just, wants to gift themselves just some time to slow down, go inside, and just recharge.
Yeah, yeah. How can people find you?
Well, currently, right now, what I have is an email address,
Okay.
and that's Adela Cruz, no, Adela at adelacruz.com.
Okay. And I'll include that below, folks. So that'll be in the description for this podcast. This
And
isn't a podcast.
yeah, still working with, like what platforms I'm going to, I guess, get myself out there.
Okay. Well, as long as you're accessible, that's plenty. So yeah, again, this is not a podcast. This is a fun, magical side quest where we just get together and talk about what's going on and share some fun stuff and share some magic. So, would anyone like to answer first what magical side quest has happened this week or recently in their life? And don't all jump in at
I'll go
once.
first.
Okay.
So magical side quest for me is recently, well, I love animals. If anybody does not know me thus far on this quest together. And so I had 3 dogs. I have a son. And that's, so teenage son. And
Fair.
yeah, and I recently have rehabilitated a lizard, like a little green lizard that you can find in your lawn. And then I took in a turtle as well. So I have been on a rehabilitation train recently. So that has been my side quest of learning how to take care of reptiles.
Learning.
With no prior knowledge.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
animals are here to teach us. So that is
Yeah.
a perfect magical side quest. Okay. Amber, what
Well,
is your
I'll go ahead and stick with the animal theme. Why not, you know?
Mhm.
Um, we went paddleboarding last week and I was able to manifest a mama and a baby whale and we got to play with them for like an hour. They just were
Oh.
hanging out with us, going around our paddle boards and yeah, it was
So incredible.
pretty
Oh, they loved your
neat.
good vibes.
Yeah. Oh, did you have a conversation with them?
Jay did pretty much. He was like right up on top of us.
Oh, that's so
The
cool.
water was kind of murky that day, so it was, but you couldn't really get in the water too much to see because it was just too murky, but you could see from up above and but yeah, it was probably like maybe a month old baby. So cute.
Aw.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
not even. Yeah, it was just still nursing and just kept coming up every few minutes. When they're small like that, they can only stay underwater for a maximum of 5 minutes. And so the mom, a lot of times, will just stay underneath, probably like, 20, 30 feet. And then the baby will come up and then take a breath and then go back. But this mom, it was like checking Jay out and checking us all out and just staying up at the top with the baby too. And yeah, it was so cute.
how big was the baby? Like the size of a car or
Yeah,
smaller?
for sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what type of whales are they?
They're humpback whales.
Okay, so the mom was probably the size of what, 2 cars, 3 cars?
A school bus. They're
Wow.
huge. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
And,
why it's like,
and you're just out there completely trusting,
yeah.
knowing that they're gentle creatures, but also trusting that if they were to come up, that you're going to be okay. And oh wow, that's
They're
so
so gentle. Like it's amazing. They just will teach you so much just by watching them and just how graceful and gentle they are. And it's really like the first experience I had looking at a mother whale underwater, not this time, but another time. It was like looking into the universe and just like pure source energy, like connection. That's what it's
wow,
like connecting with them. It's
that's
just
incredible.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
super
you for
grateful.
sharing that. That's
Yeah.
definitely all right.
Y'all, I went to a nature conservatory yesterday and
Yeah.
they had a bear that was there. And I was like, and he was in there chilling. And I said, I bet I could go in there and be friends with him. I bet he would love me
Yeah.
if I had the opportunity. I would go off in there.
What type of mushrooms did you?
Yeah. No, he was giving me the like, let's be friends. I'm Winnie the
It's like
Pooh
real
vibes.
life.
Oh,
Yes. Anyway.
I
no,
love
that's so cute. Yeah. Adela, what would you like to share?
I'm going to keep the animal theme going.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's see, about, maybe 2 months ago, I guess, I was in this shamanic journeying, I guess, class, and I noticed that after, a couple days after, I started getting all these just animal encounters. Like, we don't live like on the outskirts, but we're not in the city either. Um, so, if we walk around here, sometimes there's what is it? What are those? Squirrels. We got a lot of squirrels and a lot of
Mhm.
rabbits. Every once in a while, there's some ducks and geese that, go into the neighborhoods and set out on, some of the homes there. And during that time, I was walking the dogs, and this huge owl just like flew from wherever it was, like in front of my path, just like just glided and then sat up on this pine tree and was just like up there. And I was just like, wow, that was pretty incredible to see. And the dogs were doing their thing, and and it's hooting. And so I just have a conversation with it. I mean, I don't know if it was just like, because there wasn't anybody else out on the road. It was just me. It's here in the neighborhood. You know, it was already dark, and it was just hooting, and I was just like, hey, what's going on? Or, just
Yeah. Did he tell
um
you? Did they tell you?
it I think it must have been a mom, because then a few minutes later, another owl, a smaller one, flew up and sat right next to it up there.
Aw.
And it was just, I don't know, it
Dang.
was pretty majestic to see.
Wow.
And I think it was that time, the same week, I was sitting in the living room looking out of our living room window, and it's like from floor to ceiling, and the curtains were slightly open. And then I look up, and there's a deer, a young male. Is it a young male buck?
Yeah.
I guess. His little
Aw.
what are antlers? I was
Antlers.
saying horns. Horns were just coming, and I was like, oh my gosh. And there's a tree out front that has they have these little red berries that the birds eat, and it was just there munching away. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I didn't want to move because I had the dogs in there with me, and I felt like if I got excited or called somebody, they were going to look at the window and, rah, 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 and then chase it away. So I just sat there. It's like, well, if somebody comes, I can tell them about this. And I was just like watching it. And then I had this thought of like, I want to look in at its face, because I was just watching, the profile.
Yeah.
And seconds later, it turned as if it was looking right through the slit of the curtain. And it was like our eyes locked. And I was just watching it, and I was just mesmerized, like, wow, look at
Aw.
you. And
Yeah.
then, it went back to eating, and then I saw it leave. So I got up and I looked. It was the only one. And this is a neighborhood where every once in a while they'll come through,
Mhm.
and I couldn't see it anymore. So I went out the front door to, it's like, where did he go? And it was just down the middle of the road, just like trotting away.
Aw.
So I don't know. And that was during the time I was doing the shamanic journeying.
Did you look?
And some of that, they take you through meeting your spirit animal or power animal. And so it just seemed it wasn't a coincidence, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Did you look up the meaning of a an encounter with a buck or a deer?
Yeah, I did also the owl. And yeah, it was pretty interesting when you go through, because they're going to have very different meanings, depending on where you look. And one of them will obviously resonate with you more than the other meanings. And yeah, the owl was pretty spot on, because after that, I kept hearing it around, when I go to bed, I'd hear it hooting.
Hmm.
And so I wonder if you're the same one I saw that one night. And so,
Oh, that's cool. Right on.
I like how
Okay.
he telepathically heard you. He was like, me?
Yeah.
you're talking to
Oh,
me?
Yeah.
you want to see my good side. Got it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, of course they hear us. They're at all times, if we were just to stop and pull back and realize who is around us at all times and what type of telepathy or energy is being exchanged with our loved ones, with our animals, with strangers, we would, um, I think we'd be pretty impressed, a little bit unraveled. There's a reason that we slowly enter into this realm. Okay, so as each of you were talking, I was thinking, what animal encounter do I share? Because we started a theme here, and that's good. Um, I have a farm. I have a little private rescue farm, and I was going to share my turkey story, but then Adela, when you brought up the deer, it reminded me, Sage, remember when we were in Bastrop?
Oh,
And
when we saw the deer in the
yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah. So we were out on the porch. Case was probably with us. Did Case tell
Yeah,
you
he
that?
was.
Okay,
He was on the
yeah.
porch.
Did Case tell you that we saw a lot of deer?
I I
It
don't think so.
it was a while ago. So Case Parks is, for everyone who's watching, Case Parks is Adela's husband. And we were out on the porch at night, and all these deer walked up. And my son was with us. My son's Forrest, and he is a definitely an animal communicator and obsessed with deer, absolutely obsessed with deer and reindeer. And I think the deer, I don't remember if they were in, I think they actually came into our front yard and walked by. And so he got really excited and we called him out to see him because it was kind of late at night. And then the next night, poor thing, he sat out there for so long, just convinced that they were going to come by. But they didn't come by the second night. And then it rained. It might have been when you had already left Stage. I don't remember. Did it rain while you were there?
Oh, they came out that next night, remember, because we came out, we got Forrest at like 3 a.m. in the morning and we're telling him to come outside that they
Oh,
had
yeah.
come back. And then
Okay.
they came back the next day.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
after
You're
I had
right.
left, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It took he waited for so long and they didn't come, and then when they finally did, for some reason we were up until 3 a.m. every night because I guess just because all of there were a bunch of energy workers in a house doesn't mean I guess you don't sleep a lot. And we kept having these great conversations out on the porch. That's right. So we did wake Forrest up, and or he was probably up and he came out. So the last night it was raining, and it was an incredible thunderstorm. And so and we were inside, and I was like, why are we inside when this incredible spectacle is going on outside? So we went to the porch and we look across the street, and all of the deer were laying down in the grass, just enjoying the rain. And I guess I would assume that animals would normally stay out of the rain, but they were taking it in, and it was so peaceful and serene and beautiful to witness. Um, yeah, they were all just laying down, like kind of spaced out amongst this big, beautiful green yard across the street from us. And I was trying to take pictures, and I was trying to get a little bit closer because I wanted to memorialize the moment for Forrest with a video, and unfortunately I startled them and they got up. But that was really cool. Like I've never seen animals do that. Like I love the rain, but I guess they love the rain as much. And they were like, "Oh, it's bath time." Yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Yeah, we tend to call the deer when we go, if deer are around and Forrest walks up, deer usually show themselves. It's cool. It's really cool. So, all right, well, cool. Thank you for sharing that. Does anybody want to talk about, is there anything that's been going through your mind that you feel like chatting about now? Anything that's like anything happened today, or um you've been contemplating?
I'm coming out of my seasonal depressies.
Yay!
I am a summertime galley, springtime galley. So when fall and winter comes around, that's a harder time for me because it gets really dark really early. I mean, that generally happens for a lot of people, but I do well when there is warmth, kind of like a reptile. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But I feel much more rejuvenated. I feel like I've been in hibernation mode for months now, where I've just kind of been dormant and doing a lot of introspection. And, all those are all great things to have time to process. But as a manifesting generator, I always want to be on the go, go, go and create and, do all these things. And when the fall and winter time hit, it's kind of just like, hey, let's take a pause. And that's needed, but it also goes against my like natural state of being. So it can be a kind of intensive time for me during the fall, winter.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I people the collective constantly talk about the movement of the planets and things going retrograde and things happening, and I acknowledge all of it, and I do know that they're like the Lion's Gate affects me in ways that I can't even explain, so I will give it credit for that. um but I think we all have our own personal relationship with everything that happens, right? So the day that Mars left retrograde and went forward, I feel like I woke up out of a coma. Like all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, I'm back. Where okay. Hey, let's do things." And I was just like making lists and making plans and thought about starting these episodes. I messaged Amber and she messaged me right back and said, what did you tell me?"
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's that we have to start recording more. We should be going live, like all these. It's like everything was being held back, and then it just all came out of the gate. But so
I
I
feel,
know
I
what you're
feel
talking about.
it affected me the same way.
Yeah,
I've been
and
feeling it too.
that's what happened that day. So I'm going to assume. But then I did hear someone describe that it almost was like yeah, you were literally being held back, like things were heavier. Did you experience any of this, Adela?
Yeah, come to think of it, it was like really because I really like dive into all seasons. I enjoy them all. And I think it's because when we were living abroad in Mexico, we only had really like 2 seasons. And I know that when we got back to the States, I was like, oh my God, I miss winter. I miss autumn, because
Yeah.
it's either rainy season and it's humid where we were. And then when we got back here, it was like, oh, snow, trees, leaves, all those things that I just had grown up knowing, came back with such an appreciation. Um, but yeah, it's all cyclical, right? So
Hmm.
there are times when we are to, slow down and rest. And, sometimes for someone like me, who's Sage was saying, you're always ready to like go, go, go. And I think it's just the way, the universe, whatnot, is saying, okay, we get you. We know that you
Hmm.
want, but for you right now, this is your time to sit, hibernate, recharge, whatever it is, restore. And we got your back. You're going to come out, ready to, as you said, out the gates.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I, what was it?
Like
I
it
think
was
this
last week, I
last
think.
full moon was incredibly heavy. I was just groggy, and I'm someone who gets up like at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up and I just be like almost dragging. And I find myself just going and sitting on the couch, and it's like, taking a couple of deep breaths. It's like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then, when I feel that surge, I'll just go and do what I need to do. And
Hmm.
yeah, but there was quite, like I said, there's just this heaviness and just having to
Hmm.
slow down, um, which is good for me. I need to be reminded to do that, especially as, you guys have kids,
Hmm.
you're running a household, so things are always, I don't want to say demanding of you, but there are things that we need to get done.
Hmm.
And sometimes we forget that it's okay to put ourselves at the top of the list.
Hmm. Yes.
And so that was something that was coming up for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's hard when you because then when you lack energy, you start turning against yourself and saying, but I need to do this and I should do this and what's wrong with me and is it always going to be like this now? And it's weird. Your ego mind comes up and really makes you question what's going on. I was listening to a creator yesterday, a YouTube video, and she was talking about the energies, and it was very interesting. She said, um, people react different ways to the different things that are happening. Some people may be extremely tired or extremely motivated or whatever. And she said, I think the people that don't feel anything, it's because they've already had that light code or whatever the solar flares or the Schumann resonance, whatever that activates in some. If you've already gone through it, you're not going to feel it as strong. Because there's times when we'll message each other and we're like, anybody having a weird day? And all of us will say the same thing. I can't get out of bed. I'm super fatigued. I feel sick, you know, and we're all in different parts of the United States. So it's interesting when we have the same symptoms. But then there's other times when, you know, it seems like everyone's dropping around you and you're having the best day ever, you know. But I'd never thought of it in that context before. Like if you had already received the activation of that, of whatever happened with the Schumann resonance or the solar flare, like if you already got that one and under your belt, then you're good, you know. But the person next to you might have a completely different reaction, and it's so interesting. All that fascinates me.
Have y'all ever noticed that because we all have a lot of energy healer friends, I see that the persons that are in my network, like you beautiful ladies, we will be experiencing things together, but it'll be separate from like the general collective. Because what I see happen is like I'll be feeling all wonky and off and then process through this whole thing. And then I'll have a whole bunch of people asking me, hey, what's going on? But it's like weeks afterwards. So I feel like, oh, this is what it is. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna make
Yeah.
it through. I went through that like
Always go
2
through it
weeks ago.
first.
You only be face down in the grass like Amber for like a day. Like I did that last month. Like we're good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, for real, that's true, Sage. I experience that a lot. We'll go through it. We always go through it first, and then the collective will go through it. And so I feel like that with a lot of things that, you know, we've been put through and learned and why we are here now so that we can help those, you know, that are going through it. But yeah, it seems to be always we're ahead of it.
yeah.
It can be a little oh, go ahead.
No, please.
I was gonna say it can be a little disconcerting when other people are not experiencing that and you're like, oh, it's just me. And I think that's why it's important to have groups like we have here to form on your own or, you know, join ours. Because it's nice to be able to reach out to people and be like, hey, are you experiencing this as well?
Yeah. Do you have a network like that, Adela, where you check in with other people when you're going through something energetically?
Um, I guess yes and no. Um, I guess I guess I'm a huge introvert, so
Girl, you gotta start checking in with us more.
Yeah. Well,
We're
The
here.
introvert group.
in your house, I'm sure there's throughout the day you're like, that was weird. Is that you, Case? Or is that me? Are you
Yeah.
sending stuff through the walls? How
Yeah, I was
go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah,
please.
I was just remembering a time when you and I were together and Case was doing
Mm-hmm.
one of his sessions and something was going on with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, yeah, did you feel that? I can't even remember what it was, but
I
there was some
think you and I were
wonkiness.
doing a session. I was doing light language, and then my alarm went off that Case's daily frequency was happening. And I was like, well, that's ironic, you know, and like, what's it like on your end in real time? Like it's happening in your house and I'm part of the dailies. Yeah, it's all interesting. I was I was making breakfast and Bastrop when he scheduled him for the morning. And so that was cool to, like, I was still feeling everything, but I couldn't stop getting prepping food for us for breakfast and lunch as we were heading off to the conference. Yeah, that's cool. Um, all right. Well, are there any other deep thoughts that anyone wants to share that you've been contemplating that, I don't know, what's going on with you and Jay over there, Amber, with
I was just about to ask you guys how the new moons, if the new moon's been affecting you guys at all in this planetary parade that we just had
hmm.
the last few days or this last week.
uh I almost said no, but then I remembered 2 days ago I was in the worst mood, such a bad mood that I didn't recognize myself. And I'm like, why is this happening right now? Like, so I had to be careful that my son and my dog didn't get a bad version of me when nothing was going on. Nobody was doing anything they weren't supposed to, nothing. I I actually took a mushroom that day because I was like, I just need to get out of this, like a capsule, a microdose. We're not all saying that all we do is psychedelics, and no, I'm the beautiful kind that you make that help us work through what we're supposed to be dealing with at that moment. But yeah, no, that was a weird, it was Friday. That was a really weird day for me because I woke up thinking, oh yeah, I don't have anything, I don't have a heavy schedule. Um, this is going to be a good break for me. And I was just going to catch up on normal household things. And I could not understand why I was so just everything was making me mad. And I don't live, that's not my normal existence. Like maybe 20 years ago, there were times when I went through it, but I got so sick of myself that I thought I have to figure out how to get out of this because I felt like I had been invaded. I don't know,
Yeah.
anybody else feel that?
I have been
Jay's
feeling that. Oh, go ahead.
today. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it. It's hitting Jay today. He's feeling it today.
Because
It's,
you said you had a weird, I think on Friday
and
you
then
had a weird day.
I had several hard days this past week. Yeah, just
Like out of nowhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got woken up multiple times, like once at 2 a.m. and couldn't go back to sleep, and then one at 5 a.m. with a crazy stomach ache. Like I
Yeah.
never get, stomach aches like that, but it was different. It was a little different. It was just like, and then a couple days before that, I had two days where I had the energy was just coming through me so hard. I had to go ground and sleep on the grass for the night.
Yeah.
So
What
yeah,
what about you, Sage?
I had a couple days where I was just filled with absolute rage. Like I was so angry and I was so sad. Like the widest range of emotions that one can experience. And I'm a very like positive, bubbly person most of the time, like very cheerful. And anger is something that I used to deal with a lot because I was just in a different chapter of my life, and there was just like a lot of things to be angry about, externally and internally. And then I cleared most of that away. So when that hits me, it's like so random because I was like, I don't really have anything in my life to be angry or upset about, but I do realize that sometimes I'm intellectualizing things instead of actually feeling them, or I'm picking up on things that are happening in the collective, whatever that might be, or maybe it's my inner children that are angry about something. So I found what helps me during those times is just to say, you know what, today is going to be an angry day. And just fully surrender into it. And I'm like, you know what, it's okay to be mad. It's
Do you
okay
make
to
you make
be.
a list of all the things that have pissed you off?
Yeah, I just say, you know what? I hear you, and those are things that are upsetting. That's completely valid, and we're just gonna be pissed off today. And when I embrace that, usually it's like subsides it a little bit of like, okay, I'm recognized, and it's okay that we're here, and I love you, and that usually helps.
I
beautiful.
guess I could be okay with that part, but when as soon as like anyone else has to be around you or experience you or you have low tolerance or whatever, that's when I get mad because I can't
Oh,
like
regulated.
yeah.
No, I get that. I was kind of being snappy with my son that day,
Yeah.
and once one of us starts being snappy, we both kind of, because he's Scorpio,
Yeah.
like kind of going at it. So in those moments, I do have to kind of self-center and say, hey, that's okay in our own time, but we don't need to project that onto other persons or my dog. Like I'll be not as considerate sometimes to my older puppos. And I'm like, oh, getting frustrated about things. I'm like, you know what? This is not their problem.
Yeah, I think twice I went and apologized to my kid and my
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm sorry. It was human. I'm sorry. I'm an adult. I shouldn't have snapped like that. I'm like, yeah, it was I don't know. Adela,
Well,
do
I
you
think that's, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Sage.
I think that is like a huge game changer though of like recognizing that you are being that way and then apologizing like in the moment. That's something that I've really tried to work on my son with of like, hey, it's okay to snap and it's okay because he's going through hormones and stuff. That's fine as long as we recognize what we're doing and then apologize for it or make amends. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because we're human and it's part of it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
The cool thing
human.
is that we're breaking the generational patterns of our parents, and we're you know, we're showing them, and oh, it's okay, like, and we just correct it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As
Good job,
opposed,
Carol.
well, as opposed to, I think a lot of people just go to a bar or something when they feel like that, and which just masks the problem completely and probably creates more problems. Adela, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I just, we're human and those are real emotions,
Yeah.
whether we know where they're coming from or not. And it's like you were saying, Sage, rather than like resist, oh, I can't be angry or I can't, I need to be, no, just go with the flow. If that, the day is like going to be teary, okay. And you don't want anybody to, see you teary or you want, I find a room or go out and just like, okay, this is what it is right now. I'm just gonna be with it because it's not gonna last. It's an experience we're moving through and
Yeah.
it will on its way. And yeah, like you're
Yeah.
saying, and it is sometimes, a challenge to like wrangle that and keep that, right? Because if you're in a household and you've got people
Hmm.
and you can't always like, okay, I'm gonna step out for a while, it will sometimes come out in a loud voice or a snappy statement. And then there's that part of you that's, well, it's okay, you know, it's out because you're releasing this energy, right? Because we all know that if we hold on to it, it's gonna manifest and fester in some other way. And so it's healthy to be like angry and realize, okay, I'm gonna be angry. I'm gonna be whatever it is, sad today, happy, and it's just part of our journey.
Yeah. I think maybe because we have, uh, at least for me, I think what happens is because I recognize as it's happening, but I don't feel like just because you recognize that you're in a bad mood doesn't mean you can immediately get out of it just because you're aware of it, right? So then it's almost like you're having this conversation with part of you is feeling intense emotions. Part of you is objective, watching those emotions happen and saying, who this? Like, where did that come from? And then also realizing that others can be affected, and so you're having that whole thing happening. And then I feel like I'm letting when I go through that, I'm letting myself down. Like, dude, we've dealt with this, we've done the shadow work, we've come this far, we help other people with this. And then I realize every time all the great advice I give other people is completely gone during those times for me. Like I know exactly what to do when this, or at least I know exactly what to tell someone else. I usually say, go push yourself, like go for a walk, but like run up a hill, or, go into your car and turn the music on really loud, go take a shower, like change your physical existence significantly and quickly and like shock yourself out of it. But I don't remember any of that. When this, I'm just like, oh, I was just such a dick right now. Like, why did bad. Why did I do that? But yeah. Well, I don't know. What do you think since we were feeling some rage, do, do you think I don't know, like I don't dip into politics and I don't dip into the news and all the other stuff, but so maybe the last few days were just more of an intense day, angry days for people in general, and then we feel it, but we don't know where it's coming from. What do you think? Anyone?
I th-
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Sage. Go for it.
You go ahead.
Raise your hand.
I know, right? Um, go, Sage, go. I lost
Okay.
it.
I am also not one to look at the news and just immerse myself in those things. I really try and focus on like what can I do in my immediate reality, whether that is with my friends or my family members or my clients or community, like what can I do to support on that level? Because it's something that I can tangibly like do and see a difference instead of kind of just like worrying about bigger global things that I don't have like as hands-on availability to. But things slip through the crack. Like I'll be, scrolling on TikTok, I'll hear conversations from persons, and I think that, as light workers and empaths, we're already so sensitive to things that it just seeps in the cracks, and we are so empathetic to it that it just takes a toll because it's like one thing after the other. Because that's all that's happening right now is just topple, 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 like in so many different areas of the world. And that's great because it means revolution and that we're going to have, a better existence, but it's a lot to go through while it's happening.
It's a lot to witness others go through without the tools of how to handle it.
I think that takes a huge tax on us as well of we have the tools, but not everybody is to receive ready to receive those. And so it's kind of like we're all just like brimming with like, hey, we have the answers to a lot of these things, but it's sometimes finding the correct ears to take a listen to.
Y'all don't want to hear it, huh? You want to be miserable? Okay, yeah.
Right. So it starts to kind of pile up on us a little bit. And then I think that there's some like just collective anger of I wish things could be different, like so much vastly different than what they are right now. And we're all doing our part, and it's not just us, tons of people. But sometimes I think that anger comes from it's not going at the acceleration rate that we would prefer because all of us and everybody watching this has memories of different incarnations and different timelines where we weren't experiencing any of this stuff. Like where it's just very blissful and peaceful and happy and everybody vibing and on a higher consciousness. And so because we have experienced that and we have those soul memories and ties, it's like, I know that this is not correct here.
I'm getting frustrated, man. Can you all do some of your own work so that we don't keep having these bursts of rage that I don't know where they're coming from? Yeah.
And then at the same time, like I think that, or go ahead, I'm sorry.
No.
I think that sometimes, or at least for me, I think that, everybody has played the villain. We've all done, things throughout life. So I think when we see things that like trigger us, it like triggers something like within us that we have done either in this incarnation or a different incarnation. And it's us continuing to like shave off those layers of like, okay, that's not me now, but there's still some like trauma rooted in there of what has happened in the past. And so it brings up old stuff when we see that.
Yeah. It's like the person you couldn't stand 10 years ago comes back knocking on your door and you're like, I vowed to never see you again. And I did a really good job. Like, how did you find out where I live? And then like, anger, I'm here to spend the day with you. No, we already did this.
Or even me yesterday, I was on a walk and I had all these old memories coming up just randomly that I haven't thought about in like forever. And I, wasn't necessarily upset about them, but it was triggering to think about them, even though I've worked through it.
Yeah. And then you catch yourself like 5 minutes in, like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, like why am I going down these thought patterns?
Yeah, because one led to another, led to another. Yeah, no, I go through that. Amber, did you remember what you're gonna say?
I was just going to bring up the perspective of the solar flares and the Schumann resonance has been wild and crazy during this time too. And so I think that has something to do with it as well. And it's just releasing more of that dense energies within us, right, that have been programmed, and then bringing it to the surface to be cleared, right? And then it's like, how are you going to respond or react to it? And are you going to have the awareness? Did you learn, and how are you going to proceed with it? Which it sounds like you guys passed, so good job, Lou.
That's funny. So what about Adela? You have the most people in your house. Do you find that when you feel a certain way, or do you observe it in your kids and Case, or?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There'll be times when it's like, oh God, okay, you know what? You and I, we need to go to opposite sides of the house or, something. It's just, and yeah, because what do we have? We have a house of 3 Capricorns and 2 Virgos. Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Um,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, and mine are all teen, of teen age, so there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah. And everybody feels like they have the right answer, probably.
Or they just don't know the answers. And
Yeah.
it's okay not to know. You don't have to know. You don't have to know right
Yeah.
now. Maybe it'll come later, but just, yeah.
You're probably the calmest voice in that house, huh?
Probably.
Hypnotizing everybody. Chill
Everybody shut the fuck
out.
up. Okay, this is a shut the fuck up hypnosis session.
Yeah. Yeah,
Listen to your mother. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, interesting. Well, we are getting close to an hour here, and I just thank you. Thank you for showing up and having an interesting conversation. I wanted the first one to just be kind of fun and open to whatever we felt like talking about, in addition to asking about magical quests, because you know that is a good theme. That's a good fun theme, and we'll pick a maybe we'll pick a magical quest based on like animals like we did today. Um, but is there anything coming up in your immediate future that you're looking forward to? Anybody have any cool stuff coming up?
I'm going to New Orleans with my friend in April. I'm very excited. I love New Orleans. I have been there twice. It'll be her first time. And we're going
Wow.
to get into all the whimsical magic there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Get to hear about that. Yeah.
Yes. I am very excited. We're going to go on a gator boat ride,
Nice.
going to a vampire bar,
Yeah.
going to all the voodoo shops. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Well, that'll be a whole episode in itself afterwards of
Yes.
Mr. Toad's wild ride that you take yourself on,
Yeah.
navigating through all that. So here's a question. Um, in our house, when my son loves to celebrate holidays. So anything that's coming up, he is in 100%, like costume typically, uh decor, like just everything, right? And great, I support him, but I also make sure that he understands, like, is it the epistemology or etymology of like the reason for, and it almost every time it's pagan, which I appreciate. So we looked up Mardi Gras. Do you all know the origins of Mardi Gras? Okay, it's Roman, first of all. Like, isn't that okay? I was so shocked and surprised to hear that it was actually a Roman. It's based on, okay, so Fat Tuesday. So it's at the start of Lent, I believe. So it's based on fasting, and it was brought, like, we just assumed it was voodoo and coming from Africa, and or Creole. I was like maybe there's French in there, and so I was just really surprised that it was Roman. So I suggest everyone look up Mardi Gras, because there's a lot to it, and it wasn't at all what I was expecting. I was also telling Forrest, maybe it's connected to carnival, like that happens in, on the islands and Brazil and things. And no, it has its history, and Mardi Gras means, I think it actually means fat. I'm not going to make a fool of myself, pretend like I knew when I listened to it on Google when we asked the Google speaker, and it gave us the history. But yeah, so look up Mardi Gras before you
Is
go
the
to.
Trojan horse Roman?
Yes.
Okay, so that was technically the first Mardi Gras float.
So
Okay, I think it was Roman.
Okay.
is
The-
Mardi
because
Gras
the-
like a certain time of year?
Yeah, I think it's in
Yes.
like March, or February or March. I'm not going during
Yeah.
Mardi Gras. I'm
Okay.
going
Okay.
I'm going for a jazz fest.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So Mardi Gras is Fat Tuesday, which is this Tuesday coming up, and
Okay.
the 4th. It changes every year. I think sometimes it's in February, and yeah. So, but it's a Rome. It has a Roman, um, beginnings, which I thought was so interesting. Like, how did it make it here? And then I was like, well, why is it in Louisiana? Like, why is Mardi Gras in Louisiana? So I went down so many rabbit holes trying to figure out. In the end, what I came away with is Americans will celebrate anything, and it does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like uh St. Patrick's Day is a horrible day. St. Patrick went in to rid Ireland of the rats, which were the pagans. So when he was playing the flute and the rats were leaving, they were actually chasing people out that wouldn't commit to being Christian, and a lot of people were killed. So why do we wear green and drink green beer? I don't, you know. Um, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. That's not celebrated in Mexico, but we make a lot of tacos. Yeah. So I don't know. The origin of things has always fascinated me. And I always so my son, who's on the spectrum, would always be the kid in his classroom dropping knowledge that was completely different about the holidays. And like he would go off on his, I mean, I was proud of him. He was the only one that actually knew what was going on in the classroom, so that's okay. Anyway, yeah, look up Mardi Gras and look up the origins and how a lot of stuff came to New Orleans, because it's fascinating, and why it stayed right there. It has its own, like the if you think about it, the Louisiana, New Orleans specific accent is really cool and unique too, and it's only there.
I will look that up before I go.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'm sure you can get some firsthand knowledge from some shop owners. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah,
Where do I go?
I lived in the South, but we never made it to New Orleans. I don't know. What Adela did, real quick, were there any cool, unique celebrations when you were in Mexico? Because you were pretty deep in Mexico, right? Where did you
Mhm.
live?
We were in the Yucatan,
The
and
Yucatan.
we also spent time in Guatemala. And yeah, Cinco de Mayo is not a thing there.
No.
Day of the Dead, that's something else. That
Yeah.
is, and it's really a beautiful celebration. It's not it's not sad or anything. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's really just this celebration of continuing. This is
Hmm.
one physical aspect of us, and then yeah, it's so much fun, and that's not so much present here, at least not where I'm, in the current
Yeah.
area. Um, yeah, Cinco de Mayo has the market here in the United States.
Yeah. Though, it's interesting that you say that, because they do actually have really cool um parades for funerals in New Orleans. Um where when people get to go to the streets, and they escort I guess the vehicle to the graveyard. We go to the Day of the Dead procession here in San Diego. It's really cool. Super cool. Um but it seems like organized religion kind of screws up things. You know what I mean? Like, things are cool, and then we have the organized religion here, and the um a very marketed way to celebrate things that have nothing to do with the origins here. Yeah. Way to go, America. I don't know. Also, we can leave with Amber. Are there any unique and interesting indigenous ways that you've witnessed a funeral in Hawaii?
Hmm.
Or
Any?
celebration.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, I've been
Celebration.
to I've been to I went to a luau recently, my first one ever. That was really cool. I could not believe how many family members there are. I mean, there's probably hundreds of guys, and they're all family here just on Maui. I'm like my family's on my two hands at the
Yeah.
most, it's like, wow. I was just like super impressed, and it was a baby luau. So when they make it to 1 year old, it's like a huge celebration because back in the day, they rarely made it to being 1 year old. And so that's why when they turn one, it's like a huge celebration. So the whole family comes together and it's really cute. And they all like this one, they had the family created like a theme, like a dress theme, and they gave out like $100 whoever had the best like costume. It was just like a checkered theme. And so some of them got creative, made their own outfits, and it was really cute. Yeah.
Have you witnessed a haka in person?
No.
Okay. Do you know what I'm talking about, Sage and
Yes.
Adela?
Yeah.
Yeah. That I trained at a gym, and everyone was from a variety of islands, and they also taught dancing, tribal dancing, and I can't watch a haka without crying, like every single time. Like if I ever need to be in the feels, just put that on. Just find the beginning of a football game, a soccer game. But they did one. I witnessed one in person, and that energy literally could shift you out of your existence into somewhere else completely. It is the most intense, motivating, like activating energy. It is so profound. Okay.
Yeah.
When I come to see you, Amber, when we all, maybe all of us, go to see Amber next February to go swim with the whales, I really, really want to see some like incredible indigenous celebrations that we would be that we wouldn't that we'd be invited to, like I'm not, or hide in the bush, hide in
I'll
the
just bring the
bushes and watch.
Hawaiians to you. I actually we actually just got invited this week. We met another Hawaiian from Molokai, and he invited us over, and they're like on a healing journey and totally open to us coming over there and doing healing with the community. And
Aww.
so that door this week finally opened up, and they're gonna come pick us up on the boat. They're like, you don't even have to fly over here. We'll come get you. We'll bring you back. Like,
That's so cool.
So
Yeah.
Molokai is one of the islands that technically they only want you there if you're invited by a local.
Yeah.
So, and then they try and keep it real local, and they don't allow buildings or resorts or anything like that on the island.
Right.
They all have their own like kuleana where they take care of their pieces of the land. So like you said, their energy is like nothing else I've experienced before. The Hawaiians, like they're straight direct connect to source, and they're like straight from the earth. It's very powerful, and so super excited to be able to go do that and bring healing to that community and see what that'll bring to the world,
and how you'll shift, just be participating on that. That's so cool. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you y'all for your time and your energy and your beautiful stories and your shares. And we will be recording another one of these pretty soon, and we'll have a variety of different guests who decide or to join the conversation. And I hope everyone got something. If you were drawn to this, attracted to this video, then there was something in it for you. And we are all very accessible. So if anyone has any questions about anything you heard, I'm going to put our contact information in the description. And even if you just have questions, we're all available for that. We're here for it. So thank you.
Thank you.
To more magical quests.
Yes.
Oh.
A toast. Bye, everyone.
Bye.